Welcome to Mystic Moons. Sagittarius. This is a reading for the Sagittarius collective. Do you have significant Sagittarius energy? Maybe you don't have significant Sagittarius energy in the places where noticing nails a little chip there. Maybe you don't have significant Sagittarius energy. Little feet are scratching. Significant Sagittarius energy in the typical places where one would expect it, like your sun, your moon, your rising. Maybe you have Sagittarius energy in other places in your chart, but the interchange of how it is aspected could be really strong. Maybe you have Sagittarius energy in your sun, in your moon, in your personal houses, or in several planets. Maybe a Sagittarius energy is in your, as your signature sign. We'll see. Anyway, Sagittarius, let's go and see a message for you. There is a storm happening where I am, a snowstorm. I don't know if it's better to go and do this later, but we'll see. All right. Sagittarius, if you appreciate my time, let me know. Do give me a thumbs up. And Sagittarius, if you have any comments, please feel free to share. Sagittarius, if you'd like to send a bit of love my way to help support the channel, donations are always appreciated. The gesture of it, Sagittarius. You can go on cat treats or tea. All right. Oops. She's now just like completely sleeping away. Nothing's cuter than a kitty resting. Very calming. Sagittarius, the message I have for you at this point of time. I have 4 of Pentacles with Magician. Work with what you have, Sagittarius, and see what you can do with it. No point sitting on it, Sagittarius. Utilize the resources you have and see how far it takes you. Magician, a 6 of Cups, Page of Cups, 8. Feels like there's a card under here. World. Definitely in this energy, Sagittarius. Looks like I put something on there. Definitely in this energy, Sagittarius. No point in overextending yourself or extending yourself farther than you have already. Before you go out and extend yourself further, before you go out and collect more, before you go out and gather more, Sagittarius, utilize what you have. Let's find out more. 4 of Pentacles. Four of Pentacles is accompanied by strength. Excuse me. 10 of Swords. And 10 of Cups. So 10s could be significant, Sagittarius. I'm sure if you probably heard my readings before, you know that we are in a 10 vibrational year. 2026 is running on the vibration of 10. So we have completion of cycles. Basically, whatever we've gone through, Sagittarius, those chapters are being laid to rest as new chapters or completely new eras are opening up. Definitely with the 2 10s that are up here, Sagittarius, they speak to that. Also, too, let me say in this energy, Sagittarius, has there been anything that you have felt tied to? Not quite responsible for, but definitely tied to. I don't know exactly what those bonds could be, Sagittarius, that you could feel obligation in some way. But there's also the energy here, Sagittarius, and that those obligations, those efforts that you felt you had to reciprocate or just to step up to, Sagittarius, those are also over. Whatever you have needed to fulfill, whatever sort of acts, I feel like saying acts and efforts, Sagittarius, you already have fulfilled your part more than adequately enough. Excuse me. I may stop this and get some water. But that's the energy that we have here. Definitely too, Sagittarius, before you go and add on and see what else you can gather. And trust me, Sagittarius, plenty of energy yet here for you to gather. All this energy is receptive, Sagittarius, like a magnet, Sagittarius, like a sponge, like a homing beacon. Things naturally flock to you, Sagittarius. Accumulation, one could say even too, with the 2 10s coming up, accumulation itself is not the issue, Sagittarius. It is making the best use of what you have, sifting and sorting, utilizing and retiring, and perhaps discarding. And Sagittarius, that's what you're being asked to do right now. Don't overextend yourself. Don't extend yourself outward anymore, Sagittarius. What resources do you have? Dig into those. Sagittarius, I'm really curious about this 10 of Swords, especially as we are just starting the new year. Now, of course, many cultures are starting their new years, right? I believe the Chinese New Year will start in February. I think the Persian New Year actually starts in May, but, correct me if I'm wrong. But there's a whole bunch of, basically from now, well, from a couple weeks before, 2 weeks before, till spring, right? There's the new year energy going about. And Sagittarius, I'm going to take a look at 10 of Swords first. Energies are actually rather diverse at this point, Sagittarius. We have some Pisces, Leo, Gemini, and Capricorn. I'm not really feeling anything specific to those, Sagittarius, other than the fact that you need to make use of what you have, finalize and sort and sift and bring out to the forefront or permanently retire that which is all around you. Because again, accumulation is not your issue. Utilization, I'd say, in this energy is more. So let's check out Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords gets the Emperor. Here's this card I want to get. Was it coming out? Eight of Wands, which is Sagittarius energy. And a Seven of Pentacles. Nine of Wands, bottom of the deck energy. Some more Sagittarius energy coming out here. Four of Cups, Star. Five of Cups, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Cancer energy coming up here. But also too, Sagittarius, what we have here, well, it's like, you know, how we pick ourselves up again after disappointments. What kind of hopes and aspirations do we still hold on to? Thank you for the likes. And also too, with the hopes and aspirations that we still have deemed important enough to continue going after despite what has gone down. You know, how do we best pivot for that? How do we best plan for that? How do we make sure that we don't repeat patterns that are unpleasant, right? How do we start creating success? And Nine of Wands pops up here again. Anyway, Ten of Swords. Ten of Swords clarified by the Emperor. Eight of Wands. Seven of Pentacles. Definitely Sagittarius is telling me, number one, you know, if you want to, Sagittarius, you can very easily go out and start opening up new avenues of opportunity for yourself. New avenues of opportunity, Sagittarius. But also in this energy, the quality, the type of effort, timeline, quality, all those sorts of things wouldn't be consistent. Right now is not the time to go and overextend yourself, yet Sagittarius, you have that ability. If you extend yourself, if you put out the effort, if you put yourself out in active energy, if you are the initiator to go out and see what can be done, you will definitely have doorways and opportunities opening up for you. But it's too much. Not yet the right time. Also, too, again, you have resources that haven't been fully utilized. And also, too, as I said, you have things that you need to either bring out to the foreground, Sagittarius, or things to completely retire behind you. That's what that Ten of Swords is, taking stock, Sagittarius, of what really do you want to hold on to, what really is beneficial for you. And also, too, Sagittarius, I would wonder in this energy, how firm has your endings been? Because, you know, in this energy, Sagittarius, it's like connections that were made still could pop up. And Sagittarius, maybe that's to your benefit. Despite some roads or bridges that have been burned, Sagittarius, after a period of time, you could go back and revitalize those. And maybe they're to your benefit, Sagittarius, maybe they're not. That's something that you yourself have to decide. But the opportunity is here, the energy is here. This is not exactly a firm ending, unless Sagittarius, you call it as that. And I do think there needs to be some sort of conscious decision, conscious action, Sagittarius, on your part of everything that you've been shouldering, dealing, everything that's influenced you to get to the stage, Sagittarius, of the experience you've accumulated and earned. Of those things, Sagittarius, the good and the bad. Is there anything, Sagittarius, you'd wish to revisit, or perhaps to see if a chapter 2 could be formed? Or, Sagittarius, are you fine to go and leave what was developed in the past firmly in the past? There needs to be, and I think that depends upon you, Sagittarius, how you operate, but some sort of firm, it could be internal, just a simple shut it off. Maybe it needs to be a bit more concrete, Sagittarius. We have movement here. It could be cutting off contacts, definitely cutting off contacts. It could be changing how your contacts are, your numbers, so forth. I don't know. There's some sort of action, but how you enact that action, Sagittarius, is up to you. As long as it has meaning to you and literally what it is that you're laying to rest. Thank you for the light. So, strength. Let's take a look at strength, Sagittarius. As I have my little kitty legs here right where my elbows are. Strength. Strength, I have Magician, a vibration of 1. I have the Star, lots of air. And a 6 of Swords. So, Sagittarius, it looks like we are starting to go and get some signs coming up, of course, with 4 of Pentacles here. I will call that out. We are in Capricorn season. I think we are, yeah, for a few more days, Sagittarius, we're going to be in Capricorn season. Things will change up mid next week, Sagittarius, as we go on to Aquarius season. And of course, we do have some Aquarius energy coming up here. You may have placements, Sagittarius and Aquarius. This could also be referring, Sagittarius, to the Aquarius time period that's coming up. That'll be mid-January to mid-February. Hi. She says, I was having dreams. Were you having dreams? She was having dreams. Did her little waking up meow. Sagittarius, you may have someone around you close as well who has significant Aquarian placements. And Gemini is also coming up too. I don't know if I'm going to say so much the time period of Gemini energy, Sagittarius. It sort of could be fitting, Sagittarius. We'll wait until we have the whole entire message here. Because if we're talking about the time period of Gemini season, we're almost talking a year. And I say it's kind of fitting because we do have 10s, right? We do have cycles coming in here. But, I'm going to hold off on making that firm. I'm just presenting that possibility is there. Somebody with, you could be also thinking about your Gemini placements. As I said, let me go and finish pulling out the cards here, but something to start thinking about your or someone with Gemini energy. Not so much sure if we're talking about something solely limited, Sagittarius, between, let's say, the last roughly 8 to like an 8 to 12 month period. Because also too, with the 10s here, we're also talking about seasons. You could think about that as not just a year, but several years, a time period. Maybe some people's time periods go rather quickly. Some people's time periods can go slowly. And when I say quickly, maybe a lot can happen in a short time period. Sagittarius, which really sharply redefines your values, or you start to see things really different. For me, a Sagittarius, I had like a season for me definitely would be from 2003 to last year. That was a pretty sharp thing. But then I could also see larger portions of time which formulated the values and the actions that I do today. So that's what I'd like you to think about in terms of eras, time periods, seasons, not necessarily just a fall season or the season of a year or the season of a month, but I'd like you to think about them in terms of your own personal growth and when you had perception shifts, and also too, what kind of elements led up to you really starting not just to see things in a different way, Sagittarius, but to act on them in a different way. That's what I mean by that. Anyway, just calling that out. So we have a lot of air here under strength. Basically, Sagittarius, this tells me that the resources you've accumulated, the skills you have, Sagittarius, although not yet at least amassed in the material realm, we could say those are would be things like wealth, maybe too in this energy, Sagittarius, free time. Free time is a type of wealth. I'm going to say those type of things when I talk about materialistic things. So Sagittarius, maybe you haven't been able to quite accumulate or build out the richness that could match what you have gained in terms of intelligence, perception, patience, ability. But you have beautiful energy, Sagittarius, in that all the right ingredients, all the right skills, Sagittarius, to start blooming out into the material world, a reflection of what you've gained internally with your intellect, with your dedication, with your energy. Like in energy, I mean the vibrancy to do something, the ability to do something well. Anyway, this strength is really something that is hard-earned energy. Magician in the star, we have mastery. That's taken a bit of time, also a bit of time, Sagittarius, for you to be able to crystallize and focus your gifts in a manner that is beneficial, let's say, and also to people and environment, Sagittarius, that appreciates what you can do. All that energy is there, Sagittarius. You could be trying to start a garden, Sagittarius, in the desert, in the sand. But nothing will grow in sand. Well, not much. It can be cactus. Will grow in sand. You get the idea. You can't put little groundhogs in the ocean. Groundhogs need the forest. And then we have, let's see, what was that again? I think that was strength that I had. And now we have 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups, Sagittarius. I have the Fool, some more Aquarius energy. I have Knight of Pentacles. I have 3 of Pentacles. So a couple things, Sagittarius, definitely the energy that I have right now is before you extend yourself out further, I would say come to terms and develop what you already have around you. Even if that development, Sagittarius, could be nothing more than firmly closing out cycles. And, as I said, Sagittarius, I don't know if that's changing your number, changing your address, cleaning out your Rolodex, turning your attention to new things, new routines, or just simply going like, this person I would like to reconnect with, this person I would not, I will never, right? It depends upon you and how you want to go and work that. But 10 of Cups clarified by the Fool and Knight of Pentacles. It's like now, Sagittarius, we have the energy. It's like there's one more move, one more shift for you. And with that shift, Sagittarius, you settle in a new area with new relationships, new people to work out and build with, Sagittarius. Again, as I said here, there's a little bit of energy of resurrection. As I said, that which you've already developed, you could revisit, you could bring back. Also, too, if you're leaving a window open, I would say just go and see the state of that. If it's something in your control, and if it's on your mind, and if not, Sagittarius, firmly put an end to the vacillations, the what if possibilities, Sagittarius. Because Sagittarius, there are so many new possibilities up here waiting for you. Sagittarius, you shouldn't allow the movements that you're going to be making very soon, Sagittarius, especially in this new energy, you shouldn't allow those movements to be influenced or haunted by either people or what you experienced in the past. So what can you do, Sagittarius, to go and free yourself from making future movements, future footsteps, Sagittarius, based upon reasons from before, as opposed to, Sagittarius, making your next movements purely because, well, for whatever reason, Sagittarius, because it feels right, because it's what you've worked for, because you can tell that it's going to be a profitable move in this direction, but not because of what you're haunted by or movements and reasons, as I said, of being haunted by something, someone, situations, what have you, Sagittarius. Too much opportunity here. And as you start making movements, Sagittarius, and widening your arc, those movements will ground you. So let's make sure that they ground you in places and situations that you want to be, Sagittarius, not because you're moving in a certain way because, there's a rain cloud over there, or it's quieter over here than over there. I mean, external circumstances shouldn't go and influence what you do. It should be entirely up to how you want to move, independent of any strings from anything else unrelated to you. Anyway, 10 of Cups is very good energy, Sagittarius. As I said, I see a little bit of movement for you. I do see once that movement is done, Sagittarius, you will be settled. You will be rooted in some way, whether physically or emotionally or what have you. You will be rooted in some way to some specific tie. I do have people here, Sagittarius, in which you will build out your next phase. So that's my message for you right now, Sagittarius. Go through what you have right now. Deem what it is you want to keep and what you will let go of completely. Don't allow your future movements to be haunted, and go completely fresh, because you're in definitely a new cycle, and you'll have no lack of opportunities once you start get moving, once you start extending yourself to seeing what can be developed. I could also say, Manus, stop doing that. Manus, one moment. Shao. I have this box. I have a couple cat boxes, and I mean, true, they are cat boxes, but if she tears up the cat box and I have to put another piece of glue and cardboard on it, and I have to build it up, and each time you add glue and cardboard together, the box gets heavier. I know it's only a box and it's only cardboard, but I don't really want her tearing up the boxes. Like, she can jump in there, the little cubby holes, but not to tear it up. So yeah, my eldest Siamese and I are currently having a huge disagreement on how those boxes should be utilized. Sagittarius, what was I saying? I forgot. But anyway, you get the idea, right, Sagittarius? Sagittarius, a little bit more energies that are coming up here are Capricorn. We have Capricorn, Aquarius, and Gemini. We do have some Sagittarius in here, but the primary energies definitely are Gemini, Aquarius, and Capricorn. Strongest would actually be Aquarius, which is also interesting. As I said, Aquarius season begins towards the end of next week. You could also have significant Aquarius energy, Sagittarius. You could have someone close to you who has Sagittarius energy, Aquarius energy. If you have Aquarius energy in your own chart, Sagittarius, Sagittarius, if you have Aquarius energy in your own chart, I would recommend you look to see where that is and make sure, I would be extra sure, Sagittarius, that you don't allow the past to creep up and influence how you enact or how you deal with that Aquarius energy. Aquarius energy for you, Sagittarius, if you have it in your chart, should be kept very fresh. You know, you already have knowledge of life, Sagittarius. No need to go and keep that fresher than what it is, but also to try and keep that as pure as possible. Don't move in directions, oh, because I experienced this or because I know that. Keep it fresh. That's what I would say if you have Aquarius energy in your chart. Try and keep that as fresh as possible, and how you utilize it, move through it, etc. And if you have Gemini energy, I'm going to say, Sagittarius, if you have Gemini energy in your chart, well, Gemini energy is going to be where you hold the power of reinvention. Gemini energy is like your, have you ever watched Dragon Ball Z and Goku eats those little senzu beans? You eat something and you get like all of a sudden all charged up, all affixed up onto the next phase. Your Gemini energy is like your little secret power pack in that energy. And I'm not really going to say much about Capricorn. If you have Capricorn energy, Sagittarius, because I said I still say Capricorn energy here is about taking stock of what you have. And there's a little bit of, I see grounding for you. I'm not going to say I don't feel it's necessarily grounding Capricorn energy. Nah, it's just grounding energy. But it's also too, as you go through this year, Sagittarius, make no mistake, there are certain things. We spoke about the beginning of the reading about developing ties. And the ties and responsibilities that you felt like you had to go and take care of. You felt responsibility for, you extended yourself for it, Sagittarius. And that's also a reason why you need to go through and firmly make a division between that which is completely over and that which is, if any, that which you still leave an open door for. And this is something overall in your energy, Sagittarius. It's very easy for things, circumstances, situations, attachments, whatever you want to call it, to latch onto you and ground you in some way. Maybe you still move, Sagittarius, but you'll move with like 15 tires. Tire wheels attached to your legs as you move. You're not like running free. And Sagittarius, that's basically what I see this earth energy being, the attachment, Sagittarius, that as you make your moves coming up in the future, you are definitely going to have attachments, and those attachments are definitely going to change how you move in general. So yeah, that's basically the Capricorn energy. Not really so much that, but they'll ground you. Hello, Raka. Going well, thank you. And hello. DNA, a Sagittarius moon. Too, until June of this year, Jupiter is in Cancer. So that means that basically Jupiter is in its most exalted state for the next 6 months now. And one of the things I would say, especially with anyone with significant Sagittarius energy, is really to trust the gifts that you have, as someone with significant Sagittarius energy and being under the planet of Jupiter, which is wealth, expansion, luck, and power. And I would really thank Sagittarius for, this transit that is, halfway through. Sagittarius, some people go and get their greatest benefits by being, I don't quite want to say the word dedicated, but having a very strict routine that they adhere to. Like every hour on the hour, they're going to be doing this, and every blah, 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 they have this, that, like a very organized, meticulous type of schedule. Also too, well, I'm starting off at this level, but if I work hard enough and if I do blah, blah enough, I am going to, other people will recognize it, or the circumstances will recognize it, and I will rise up. And Sagittarius, I want to say, this depends, right, on your chart makeup. Take it as it resonates. Perhaps you have some signs in there as well, just as prominently, Sagittarius, that reward that type of action. But Sagittarius, I would definitely think about how the Sagittarius is aspected in your chart, where it sits, because one of the gifts that you have is luck. Sagittarius, sometimes the more you force something, the more you try and follow the rules, Sagittarius, you're creating more of a burden on yourself. Think about it too. In the tarot, 10 of Wands is one of your energies. Ten of Wands, lots of strength, lots of capacity to do. But that capacity to do is just taking on a whole lot of weight. Strong. And because of that strength, a capacity, a tendency to take on a lot, perhaps too much. But Sagittarius, I just want you to also keep in mind as we are going into this year, and especially as I said, up into when Jupiter is no longer in Cancer towards the end of this year. Sagittarius, think about the power of luck, the power of serendipity, the power of synchronicity. That's a gift that you have. No one else has it quite as strong as Sagittarius placements. Utilize it. Think about it. Anyway, I'm going to leave this up for a little bit of time. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.